As we are approaching the end of the 2024 theme park season, now feels as good a time as any to discuss my current rankings of my favourite roller coasters. As making this video, I have ridden over 250 roller coasters within the UK, mainland Europe and the US. Since last year's video there's been several new entries. There has also been some coasters that have moved up and down this list due to re-rides. Without further ado, here is my current list for my favourite 25 roller coasters. Number 25, Cuchulainn. While doing a day trip in Ireland proved challenging, it was more than worth doing it for this Gravity Group Woody. While the ride only stands 105 foot tall, it feels a lot larger due to its dense wooden structure and impressive 3,500 foot of track length. Number 24, Balder at Leesburg. Another wooden coaster, Balder is a coaster that I've warmed up to over the years. While I still find the turns dull, the ride's many airtime moments make up for it. For whatever reason, the rides I got last year felt a lot more powerful than they did last time I originally rode it back in 2017. Balder is smooth, fun and certainly re-rideable. Number 23, Rock and Roller Coaster. I get it, I rank this coaster way higher than most people, but I honestly love this coaster. While it doesn't have the forces of other coasters on this list, or is the most innovative coaster you'll find, Rock and Roller Coaster is a pure joy in my opinion, from the theming, the storytelling and the awesome Aerosmith soundtrack. It's a ride I find myself wanting to re-ride as many times as I can. Number 22, Goliath. Like many, playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 in my youth made me want to ride this intimate mega coaster. While it might not be as impressive as it was in 2002, Wallaby's Goliath still has great moments of airtime, as well as an increased sense of speed you don't get with other hyper or mega coasters due to the ride's low to the ground elements. Number 21, Stealth. Stealth might just be the best 15-second coaster experience there is. While it might sound like a backhanded compliment, this intimate accelerator is one powerhouse of a ride containing the fast acceleration you will ever find in a coaster out there. Number 20, Abyssus, a fairly underrated coaster in my opinion. Perhaps it's because it's in the same park as Hyperion and Zydra, or maybe because it's just not as intense as say an Intamin multi-launch. Either way, Abyssus is one of the most fun and dynamic coasters in Europe with several airtime moments and superb transitions. Number 19, Kraken. Another coaster I rate higher than most is SeaWorld's iconic Flawless roller coaster. Easily my favourite multi-looper in Florida. Kraken has a perfect array of inversions which contain the old school B&M intensity. While it is admittedly getting on a bit, I'm very eager to re-ride this as soon as I can get back to the Sunshine State. Number 18, Icon. Having already ridden Helix and Blue Fire, I had an idea of what Icon would feel like before my initial ride on opening day, and it didn't disappoint. Icon is a coaster that the UK deserved, but perhaps not the one it needed. While it might feel overshadowed now, either literally by the big one or metaphorically by Hyperion, its very layout of airtime, hang time and positive Gs make it an all-round winner in my book. Number 17, Silver Star. The first and definitely not the last German coaster you'll see on this list, Silver Star is a solid B&M hyper, which not only provides some awesome sustained flow to airtime, but also has a couple of surprising ejector airtime moments thrown in. It's a must do every time at Europa Park. Luckily the wait is never long due to the unbelievably fast operations. Number 16, Fly. I got the chance to go back to Phantasialand this April to finally experience this new Vekoma model. Fly takes a flying coaster concept and improves it in every way. Even if you were to take all the incredible theming away, you'd still have a fun and dynamic ride which really does offer a different type of experience depending on where you're sat. If you're in the front you get some airtime moments, in the back it's more positive Gs. Of course the theming takes it up to another level and delivers the ultimate package of what a flying coaster should be. Number 15, SheiKra. Before seeking out coasters within mainland Europe, this B&M dive coaster was my favourite roller coaster for many years. While its design does feel dated by today's standards, I still believe that SheiKra is one of the best dive coasters there is. SheiKra has one incredible first drop and an intense Inelman to follow. The second drop underground is the icing on the cake. It's basically Oblivion but 4 times better. Number 14, Woden Timber Coaster. To this day I can't think of many coasters that match the insane balls to the wall pacing of this GCI giant. It starts out crazy and somehow manages to feel even more out of control as it goes on. While it does throw you about a bit, it's never too rough and it's a perfect amount of jostle I would want from a wooden roller coaster. The theming is brilliant and the soundtrack is one of my favourites. If you have the opportunity, a night ride on Woden is an absolute must. Number 13, Hyperion. I finally got to ride this beast in September and all I can say is a much needed addition to Thorpe Park. The inversions are the highlight for me, particularly the store which I think might just be the best one that I've done. The airtime is potent and sustained but delivers more towards the floater area. Out of the 7 rides that I have done, it feels like it rides better in the front for me. It's great to finally see an airtime focused coaster here in the UK. Number 12, Ride to Happiness. Easily the most unique roller coaster that I have ridden. This Mack Extreme Spinner has several standout moments such as the JoJo Roll, Top Hat, Banana Roll and Flying Snake Dive. all of which are taken while you are spinning. Luckily the spinning is gradual, so it's not enough to make you feel sick, but it's certainly disorientating. It would be higher on this list if all my rides were consistent. Some rides I got on this would crack my top 5, others would barely crack my top 20. But due to the spinning nature of this ride, it's not possible for it to be completely consistent, so I think the number 12 spot is a fitting place. Number 11, Taron. The detailed and immersive theming is paramount to Taron's appeal. The way the train seamlessly carves through the rockwork and recklessly whips through the medieval buildings makes it feel like an immersive video game come to life. It's a perfectly balanced ride in my opinion, between a sense of speed, airtime moments and aggressive whip. While it might not have some of the big wow elements of coasters that I personally rank ahead of it, Taron is definitely an elite coaster in my book. Number 10, Shambhala. The huge camelback hills produce some of the best and most sustained flow to airtime that I have ever experienced. It's a brilliant location from the back of the park. From most vantage points it is a backdrop to the park's awesome skyline. You can also see the Mediterranean from the top of the lift hill. Both the front and back row offer equally exceptional rides, which makes Shambhala addictively re-rideable. Number 9, Wildfire. The world's tallest and fastest roller coaster happens to be built inside of a zoo. The rather secluded location of Kolmarden makes Wildfire one of the most scenic coasters out there. This coaster isn't just here for the views. Wildfire is a sensational coaster which delivers on all the RMC touchstones that you expect, from the aggressive airtime to whippy inversions. Wildfire is a memorable experience from start to finish. Number 8, Conda. This new gen Intamin mega coaster is one of the most fun and re-rideable coasters there is. The perfect balance of airtime, pacing, speed and moments of intensity. The first 3 elements are stunning, and the small but aggressive bunny hops at the end really give this ride a lot of character. While the first drop is great in the back, Conda is definitely a front row ride for me, especially over the first airtime hill and the outer bank. Number 7, Schroeder's Kanon. Perhaps the only coaster I've been on which actually scared me each and every time I went on it. And on the 2 days I went I did 12 rides on this beast and the fear was still there. Of course I won't spoil it, although I bet most of you already know what I'm talking about. This ride just keeps on giving. It has a fantastic mixture of elements which range from strong intensity to eject airtime moments, not to mention the incredible theming in the queue line. Number 6, Tutatis. I had high expectations and it delivered in every way. This ride has everything I would want out of a modern launch coaster, featuring plenty of fantastic elements. No matter where you're sat on the ride it still gives a fantastic ride, but my favourite ride's towards the back of the train. The ride has some incredible theming to boot, which is not unlike the other rides at Park Asterix. Number 5, Untamed. Untamed is everything that I expect when I hear the word RMC. From many moments of ejector airtime, it's such an insane ride that just made me laugh through the entire layout. Easily one of RMC's most bizarre and zany designs. In my opinion, Untamed is easily the best ride in Europe for ejector airtime. Number 4, Zadra. Zadra was my first RMC and despite all the hype it didn't disappoint. The first drop, the 0G stall, the outward bank, airtime hill and final inversion, all made for a perfect coaster. The way all these elements are sequenced together, matched with the ride's ferocious pacing, makes it easy to see why this is one of the world's most beloved roller coasters. Number 3, Taiga. On first impressions alone I already knew it was going to be a top 10 contender. Every element just hits and some elements I wasn't even expecting from surprised me. The standout moments such as the 0G winder are nothing like what I've experienced before. Taiga never lets up and has some of the best pacing and sequencing I've ever seen. As the ride warms up later in the day it absolutely hauls through its layout. It becomes more and more rare for me to ride a coaster that has moments unlike any other, but Taiga does just that. Number 2, Helix. Helix became my number 1 roller coaster when I rode it back in 2017. It kept onto that title for several years. Before I first rode Helix I had middling expectations of it, expecting it to feel like kind of a Blue Fire meets Cheetah Hump, but it was so much better than that. Last year I had the chance to re-ride Helix and I was pleased to find that this Mack launch coaster had held up 100%. While it has since been overtaken, it sits firmly as my second favourite. Helix is the ultimate coaster for variety, from airtime moments to positive Gs to inversions. The sequencing of elements is just one of the key aspects which makes Helix so amazing. I love how it just drops you out of the station. There's absolutely no faffing with this ride. Even the pre-launch section is made more interesting thanks to all the trees and the landscaping. The way that the coaster interacts with the hillside and other coasters makes it feel like a no limits coaster come to life. This coaster has so many elements it's hard to pick a favourite, but going over that second airtime hill with the awesome view of Gothenburg makes it one of the best experiences on a coaster that you can have. Number 1, Hyperion, the true underdog of European coasters. The main thing I remember coming off my first ride was being how stunned by how good this coaster actually is. I knew it was going to be great, but hearing about its rattle and looking at the layout myself, my expectations were moderated. When the first drop came, my expectations were absolutely blown out of the water. Hyperion offers some of the strongest and most sustained objector airtime I've ever felt at that point, to the point where it almost feels illegal. The first 3 elements on this coaster just feel out of this world. While the second half is admittedly not as intense, there's plenty of intimate magic to be found from its low to the ground stall turns and bunny hops. I came off this ride with a certain buzz I had not felt in a long time, not since I'd first rode Helix back in 2017. The display of power this coaster has just won it over for me. I don't think I've ever come off a ride by being so confused by how good it actually was. This ride absolutely shattered all expectations that I had. There you have it. As you can see, this list is mostly dominated by European coasters. Next year this list will likely be more varied with coasters outside of Europe, but until then this is my current ranking as of November 2024. I hope you have enjoyed watching, and if you've ridden these coasters mentioned in this list, I would love to hear your thoughts on them below. Thanks for watching.